120. Can you give a practical example of how a nominee director might get it wrong?
I will do better than that and give 2 practical examples. Scenario 1, failing to stand up to the directors of a parent company. John is finance director of ABC Limited, which is 90% owned by ZIS Limited. ABC Limited is profitable and soundly financed. In fact, it has £1 million in the bank and an unused borrowing facility of £2 million. ZIS Limited, on the other hand, is unprofitable and faces financial difficulties. John receives a telephone call from Jenny, the finance director of ZIS Limited, instructing him to pay over all the money that he can lay his hands on. John immediately sends £3 million to ZIS Limited. Shortly afterwards, ZIS Limited goes into insolvent liquidation. The £3 million loan is valueless, and as a result ABC Limited also goes into insolvent liquidation. John has wrongly put the interests of his company behind the interests of the holding company. The creditors of ABC Limited will not get paid in full, and the shareholders of ABC Limited, including the 10% who are outsiders, will lose money. The consequences for John could be very serious. Scenario 2, putting the interests of one group of workers ahead of duty to the company. Susan is a director of ABC Limited and represents the interests of the factory employees on the board. The directors reluctantly decide that redundancies in the factory are necessary. They agree that they will work out precise details and discuss them with the people involved in a month's time, but that meanwhile confidentiality is very important. Susan immediately tells the factory workers, who promptly commence a damaging strike. This is not in the interests of the members, and it is not in the interests of the employees who are not employed in the factory. Susan has failed in her first duty to the company and its members as a whole.